Hi everybody, I'm Kristin Fontichiaro from the University of Michigan School of Information, and I'm here with my colleague and partner in crime, Ben Rearick, and we're here to talk today about taking toys apart. And this is an activity where you take ordinary childhood toys, or we're also pretty fond of taking apart these mechanical objects in order to see what's inside. And I think this is really important because before we get kids engaged in building their own circuits, it's really useful for them to see how those circuits work in the real world. So Ben, will you start us off and tell us about the kind of tools you might need to engage in taking toys apart?
Sure. First, we have scissors to take any cloth pieces off, and that's easy for kids to get started with. Next, increasing the difficulty a little bit, we have two kinds of screwdrivers, and we find that kids have a little bit of difficulty pushing and turning at the same time, so some of these smaller ones are a little bit easier for them. We've got a couple different kinds of pliers here. We've got some tweezers that can help explore some of the insides of toys. When you get down to the wires and see some of the interesting pieces in there, you can sort of pick those apart. And then we've got some precision screwdrivers here.
And these are great because you can actually, the top spins loose so it can turn while you're pushing, which really helps those younger kids. And then there's the question of toys. Mm-hmm. So we at the University of Michigan School of Information are big thrifters. So we pick up toys at thrift shops. We find that we're attracted to three kinds of toys. One is toys that make noise, keyboards, toy guitars, things like that. Toys for young children that have relatively few moving parts. It's much easier when you take it apart than to see what each component is doing. Mm-hmm. And then these mechanical ones. And we try to spend between $1 and $2 a piece. So another thing to really be thinking about is having some kind of worksheet or handout. We put out one that has pictures of various things so they can learn what they do. Sometimes in toy take apart, it can be a little bit tricky when you have things like ribbon wires to exactly tell where the energy is going, but to be able to name, this is an LED, this is a speaker, this is a resistor, is really valuable. We hope that we've inspired you to think about taking toys apart on your own. If your kids aren't responding well to toys, we find in our work across the state that people love to take things apart. You can also look into things like taking apart simple vacuum cleaners. Make sure you clean out the dust from those before you move any further. Taking apart old VCRs can be really great. There's really interesting looking moving parts in those. And the lid tends to pop right off, so it's really easy to see. And old phones are particularly good. So put out a call in your school or in your community, and we hope you'll enjoy taking stuff apart with your students.